Hello and welcome to the next episode of Woodward's Watercolours. Today I want to look at these fabulous Faber-Castell Water-Soluble Graphite pencils. They are just fantastic. I remember seeing somebody using water-soluble graphite somewhere, and I thought I would love to give that a go. So I hunted on Amazon to have a look and see what sort of price range they were, and I found this little pack, and it was somewhere in the region of about £11, 10 to £11, which I thought was pretty reasonable. Now, my understanding of Faber-Castell is that they are quality, and boy, have I not been disappointed. So come with me and we're going to have a look at experimenting with these wonderful little pencils. Okay, so here we have this lovely little tin. I'm a sucker for a tin, and I love that it comes in this gorgeous little setup. They're Faber-Castell, I've already mentioned that. There's 5 graphite aquarelle pencils in here. So whenever you open it up, it reveals a lovely little set, and it does scream quality. So I have this little scrap bit of paper here to be able to demonstrate the different strengths of the pencil. Now, I appreciate that for many of you watching, you're maybe very, very familiar with the gradings of pencil and how they move from light to dark. So you've got H indicating the lightness of the pencil. They tend to be much, much harder and leave less residue of the graphite onto the watercolor paper, whatever surface that you're using. So you've got H being the lightest, and then you've got B being the hardest, and HB being the midway point. So this is the HB pencil. So what you have here is an HB, a 2B, a 4B, an 6B. Oh, I got them all mixed up. Get them back in order. A 6B and then an 8B. So what we're going to do first of all is just simply make a line with the HB. So we're going to write, this is HB here, and then scribble across. And then what I'm going to do, I'm just going to keep working across here. So we've got 2B. I could make that terrible joke about that famous Shakespearean quote, but we'll just leave that behind. Then we've got 4B. We have got a 6B. You can see it starting to get noticeably darker. And then we've got the 8B. Now the 8B, I love the 8B. And I'm trying to apply the same amount of pressure with each one. So I'm going to take one of my favorite brushes. This is the Rowney Simply Flat Wash, the 3/4, which I just love. And what we're going to do then is we're going to just add a little bit of water to this and see how it releases the pigment. Okay, so that's HB. We've got 2B. 4B, which you can start to see is noticeably darker. Got the 6B, much, much darker again, rinsing the brush each time. And then we've got the 8B, which is darkest again. Okay, so here we are, fresh piece of paper. This is 190 GSM cold pressed watercolor paper, much thinner than I would normally use, but I have used it before in demonstration, so we're going to use it today. So we've got the lovely little set that have just demonstrated the different strengths of the pencil, going from the HB right through to the 8B. And I also again wanted to highlight this Faber-Castell pencil sharpener. It is absolutely fantastic. It has for coloring pencil, jumbo graphite, and then smaller graphite pencils, and is possibly the best pencil sharpener that I have ever used, and really inexpensive, like £4 or £5. The water pot again today that I'm using seems like everything apart from the brush here, and the paper is Faber-Castell. This is a collapsible water pot. They just are quality. It seems to be that whatever Faber-Castell do seems to be of quality. So what we're drawing today is this very, very simple little cottage that is in the Downings direction of Donegal, and I will of course put that up in the community section of the YouTube page, and then you can have a go with this if you want to do so. Okay, so it's just a really, really simple structure, and we're going to do a very, very simple pencil drawing of this. And then we're going to add a little bit of the water to it with the flat edge brush. So just simply getting the structure now. Actually, that has blunted ever so slightly, so just going to use my trusty pencil sharpener, and it is very, very quick, and as you can see, very, very effective. Now, I could probably quite happily just use the HB for the majority of this, but I really want to begin to show how possible it is to use the range. So we're going to work our way through all of these while we're doing this. So I'm basically using the lightest one, which is in the H range and actually is designated as being in the B range, the HB, to be able to just get the basic structure. Now the great thing about this roof is that it is actually, no, I'm not going to worry too much about this. I'm turning the pencil because it is blunting on me. I'm just turning it as we go. So it is actually quite a higgledy-piggledy roof because it's an old abandoned cottage in the west of Ireland, and it's also got these corrugated, the corrugated iron roof. So you can imagine how cold that would have been in winter and how warm it would be in summer. Although thankfully in Northern Ireland, the north of Ireland, should I say, that it is not really warm very often. Although today it's quite a nice day out there. So just suggesting this roof here, and you can see that it is actually blunting quite quickly. So the soluble graphite, I'm just going to use this again. See how handy it is, to have beside you, because it is so reliable and really begins to sharpen to a really, really satisfactory point. So if you notice there, just as I'm doing that corrugated roof, in terms of giving perspective, the perspective is kind of at this angle on this side, this and the other, and with a roof it just moves across. So it's good to notice that as you're drawing. Just have noticed that over the years that I've been drawing buildings. So just trying to get the basic structure here. And as I said, it's lovely and forgiving because it actually is quite higgledy-piggledy because of its years of being out there and abandoned and not maintained. So it's actually quite a forgiving thing to draw. So if you want to have a go drawing this, then please feel free to do so, and I'll absolutely pop your examples up on the community page. So you'll see whenever I pop this up that it has a lovely green roof, which this is monochrome, so we're not going to capture that. That may be slightly frustrating to hear. We're not going to introduce any color, but also just to make the point that spot color in a monochrome artwork is actually very interesting. So that can be something that you can consider, that if this is something that you're doing, that you maybe do it in monochrome, but then at some point you're going to add in just that little pop of color. That can be really quite interesting. Okay, so now then as we look, it has this kind of a tree that's coming just above there, and just moving the brush around to try to see, or not the brush, sorry, the pencil around to just note where that is. And then there's a telegraph pole that is completely overcome. Now the telegraph pole is above the house, so we're just gonna note that's where it is. I tend to turn the pencil quite a lot whenever I'm drawing with it, because especially with pencils like this and any watercolor pencils, you'll find that they will blunt on you as you use them. So in doing that, it can be a really quite effective way of keeping them nice and sharp. Now this is the hill, which is really the situation where it's set in Downings, and in Downings there's another telegraph pole up here. So actually keeping this one quite tight, much tighter than I would normally draw, because I want to be able to demonstrate the possibilities with these pencils. And then got some other bushes and things across here, so I can really begin to listen up as I'm doing that. And I want to just sort of highlight here that there is some grass and things across. So just, I mean, you can really see that is beginning to
soften. And this is the hardest pencil in the set. So being aware of that when you're using them is really very helpful. Okay, so now we're going to switch to the 2B. And in the 2B, so just going to be able to pick up little bits of detail. You can see that it actually flaking with applying that little bit more pressure. And just I want to note on the door that it's just a little bit darker here. We use those simple lines to kind of indicate the door. And I can also then pick the points where, so move that along. It's actually probably not dark enough for what I'm wanting to do there. Sorry for headbutting the camera. It's probably not dark enough for what I'm wanting to do there, but it's a good way. So behind here, so this tree that I was telling you about, so we're going to use the variety of the 5 pencils on this tree. And also on the side of that telegraph pole and on the back of this one. Now, the other thing that we can do is just note a little bit of the hillside. And you'll see how, if you've seen the video that I did on the Derwent Inktense pencils, then you'll begin to see, once you get to use these a few times, you get to be aware of how you can deposit the pigment with the pencil, but then also disperse that and distribute that with the water when you're adding that to it. So there's a little bush there and a little bit of shadow there. So you can see this starting to build a little bit. Starting to get some of the lines here. I haven't tackled anywhere really of the darkest points, just some little bits, just to get to use around all the pencils. Okay, so let's switch now to the third darkest, which is the 4B. So this is getting softer and softer as we go. So we can lean much lighter to get the same effect. And then if you just notice there, just a little bit of pressure, and you'll find that it really is making a big difference. So behind here, it's very much darker. This is where the shadows are, and the part of the bush that's going along here, and alongside where the rest of that tree is occurring, just alongside where the rest of the tree is occurring, just where this part of the roof is, and then where the telegraph pole is as well. Okay, so, and we can use the darker pencil alongside on this bit here as well. And also then move it across here. So I'm going to actually use a little bit, very, very lightly, across that bit of the chimney. And on this bit of the chimney here, just very, very lightly. And then also there's some just little bits here that are that little bit darker. Okay, so now we're moving across. We're getting to really dark territory now. This is the 6B. And you can see just quite instantly, whenever you're using it, it is much, much, much darker. So I can just very, very gently just put little marks here on this telegraph pole. And just add it in here. And then just start to build it up. So we just add the little marks here, like I said, in that telegraph pole. We've got it really nice and dark across this point. I might actually just very, very, very gently, and also then on the side of the building, you'll see just these little marks. If you could see the reference picture, which you will be able to pick up in the community section, just making just little marks. It's a white cottage, but over the years then it's got a little bit beaten up over the years. So we're just gonna make sure that that little bit on the side there is that bit darker, and add in a little bit more depth here. Now there's lots and lots and lots and lots of pigment in, or not pigment in, or sort of the water soluble graphite here, so we can really quite nicely just add in little tones of it, and then all the way up the hill across here. Now, it really doesn't look like very much at this point, but whenever we get the water onto it, it will really begin to pop. So I'm just gonna, again, lightly just indicate a little bit of tone across here. Okay, now moving to the final one, which is the 8B. So we're going to use it for the very darkest points, and the very darkest points are up there in the tree, as I was about to start, but I thought let's go to the window while it is pencils at its sharpest. And then here on the windows on this side. So just filling this in. Okay, and I can use just a little bit. Go right across actually some of these sections, just altering the direction of the lines to indicate certain areas. So that is the drawing part complete. So that's all we're going to do with the drawing of the pencils, and now it's going to be all about how we add the water to it. Okay, so let's add in the water together. So this, using the Rowney flat wash, the 3/4 inch one, and we're just going to move across here, first of all just on the roof. So you can see that it keeps, but that's the thing I love about the watercolor pencils, is you can still see the lines, but at the same point it is beginning to release pigment. So don't need much water on the brush for this. So just moving this across, you can see this is the, so I've used the darker pencil here, so it will carry across. So just taking the corner of the flat edge brush, which is the part that I find that I use actually quite a lot. I'm just gonna tap that pigment there that's on that edge, which is just going to release it. If you can see that there, hopefully that's coming across. So then looking at the door, it really is just such a pleasure to use them. I find that they just scream this quality and just work so very nicely. They do really explode the graphite. It's really quite hard to describe. I find, you know, it just seems to work so well. So here, if you look in the hill area, just touching, now the lines are very, very helpful. They're given a real structure, which then allows me to release the pigment of the graphite. I don't need much water on my brush for this, and I can also then just touch the side of the telegraph pole in that distance there, and with this area here, hopefully I've added a little bit more water, so hopefully I can begin to demonstrate how it just, you know, as I move this along, you know, I'm gonna be lifting the graphite pigment, or the graphite, and just moving it across using the edge of the flat edge brush, the long edge, which it just seems to add in such depth to it, you know, as you do that, kind of this sort of almost stippling motion, which I would use often on roofs, on houses, or roofs, however you pronounce it. And then also then in this part of the foreground, which I use the lighter brush for, so it's much thicker in that other area. Just moving that across, and as I move across more of the areas that I had added down the graphite, then it obviously lifts more and layers that up. So I'm just going to touch a little bit more from the water pot and add in much more again. Now you can see this is just a little bit of the 190 watercolor paper, which will buckle much more than any of the others. So it's good to really demonstrate that as well and show the difference of that. See there, if you can actually nearly rub it away with the water, so any bits that are darker, if you see here, I can lift off the pigment and then really continue on this sense of there being more long grass that has become disheveled. It's a little too uniform for me in some regard, but what I can do, sort of cleaning out any of the moisture from the brush, I can then lift it from different areas and move it across. And then this little bit down in the foreground here. Just agitating that and rubbing that really releases any areas where I'm feeling that it's really too strong. And then what I can also do is take this little dagger brush. This is a little graduate a-quarter sword brush. No, sorry, not a dagger brush. And then this is the darkest, the 8B and the 6B in this area. And I can then just agitate that around. Now it is really, I think it's really quite special the way it just releases its pigment. And it just is, again, that was the 8B that I used in the 6B just behind. Maybe there was actually some 4B in there too. But just getting that sense of this tree and the shadow behind it. Now I can also lift some of that and drop it over here. If you notice that there, sword brush is really very accurate. Now, this is the bit that I wanted to keep the sword brush especially for. So clean the brush nice and fresh. So just touching those 8B marks there. And hopefully there's a little bit, and there's not a whole heap now on that brush. Let me change the brush to something. I'll go for number 9 Rowney Graduate Filbert. I'm going to lift just a little bit of that pigment here. I actually can't even get it off. I really want to put, there we are, just a little flick across there. And there you have it. That's a little demo with these beautiful little Faber-Castell 5 graphite aquarelle set. Just so versatile and such quality.
Aren't these little pencils just wonderful? I find that the way that the graphite just explodes when you add the water to them is really quite wonderful to use. And for about a tenner, what a great little set, and a lovely way, and a very easy way actually, to carry them if you're traveling about and you want to work in your sketchbook. Last night I was on a boat and we were all sketching, and I had my little, you know, those watercolor brushes that have the water reservoir in them, and it just worked so well. Thank you so much for watching this video. I really love reading through your comments, really appreciate your likes, really appreciate you watching these videos. It makes a real difference to a real person and a real family, so thank you so much for that. If you'd like to put any suggestions of watercolor products that are released by the addition of water, then please put that in below. I really enjoy doing these reviews and demos of these products, and also just showing you how you can attempt to do things the way I try to do them. So thanks for watching, and stay well, and I will see you sometime soon. Bye for now. And I nearly forgot, if you would like to be in the chance of winning that little drawing from today, then please put your name in the comments below and I will draw it at random and I will let you know. Bye!